Wow, it's been a little while, hasn't it? Yeah, so that happened. The plague happened. Tony D here from Absolute Ability. Yeah, it's been far too long since I spoke to you guys, so I thought I would just make a little video update and tell you what's going on, and help you guys out with some questions you might have about how to get women and get more love and sex and fun back into your life in the middle of a global scare, right? So what have I been up to? Let me tell you that first. So before the lockdowns happened, I was in the process of traveling around the world. I went to Thailand, Bali, Indonesia, Malaysia. I flew over to Germany. I went to Poland, Bulgaria, Serbia, Hungary, and I was running boot camps helping men to learn how to approach women and find their balls. And then after 9 months of travel, I thought, you know what? It's about time I go home, visit the family, recharge, right? Take my mind off dating and work and whatnot. And then, yeah, that happened. Whew. So here I am in Canada once again, and I don't think I could have picked a worse place to quarantine. Take a look at this. This is my backyard. Yeah, that's my backyard. Literally. So I've been getting a lot of messages from guys asking pretty much the same question. How do I meet women during a quarantine? And an obvious solution is online dating, right? So I have to admit to you, I personally do not care much for online dating. I haven't cared for it for a long time. It really actually destroys people's self-esteem when you swipe 10,000 times and you can't get a girl who's very attractive to meet up with you, right? I find online dating for the most part is a good way for the men and women, the men who don't have much confidence approaching and talking to women, and the women who aren't being approached. It's a good place for them to meet up for the most part. But now, because of the pandemic, it's a bit more viable, I guess. But I'm not subscribing to that, because from what I'm seeing, it seems like lockdowns are going to ease up. What's going to happen here? So what's going to happen is lockdown is going to get a little bit worse throughout the winter because the cold and the flu are going to spring up. Oh, look at this. Bunch of grapes. Oh, what the fuck? A helicopter just flew by, so I had to stop. So online dating, personally, it's not for me. And for a lot of guys, I know they don't like online dating either. They miss the good old days when you could practice something called day game, where you would see the girl, you walk up to her, go direct. Hey, I just saw you. I thought you were really cute and I had to meet you. Or they would go to bars and clubs. And yeah, it seems like those days are over. Are they over forever? Obviously not, because you know what? The way I see it, the scare, it's just a really bad flu. It's a really bad flu that kills people, and the world is just starting to come to grips with this. Okay, it's not the Black Plague. People aren't dropping dead in the streets. It's not the end of the world. Because social media allows ideas to spread so quickly, fear being the most spreadable of emotions, the most contagious emotion, this is a really interesting thought experiment in what happens when ideas go viral. And, you know, this idea has basically shut down the entire world. It closed borders, it closed jobs, you know, and it's caused everyone to fall into a state of fear. Not everybody, not me, but a lot of people to fall into a state of fear. And so I noticed a really interesting correlation between people who are very afraid of approaching women, very afraid of travel, very afraid of adventure, you know, dangerous situations, and their fear of the flu, of the COVID. And I noticed something very similar, and that is men who suffer from fear of life also suffer when it comes to attracting beautiful women. Big surprise. The common denominator here is fear of death. So whether that's ego death or physical death, these fears are stopping them from having the sort of life they want. But Tony, the plague is real. I know, okay? So there obviously is a virus that's killing people. I don't want to get too political here, but I know men who, despite this plague, are still going out. They're still meeting women. They're still having a great time, mask or no mask. So these men, I have clients all over the world. You know, I have clients in Serbia. I'm dealing with a guy in Serbia right now, and he has to wear a mask in the bars, but the bars are open. There's guys I know doing day game in America. There's guys I know who are doing online dating, and they're having still a great time, right? But there's other men that I'm dealing with who are afraid to leave their apartments, right? They don't want to come within 6 feet of anybody, including women. And so when I ask these guys, you know, what's your solution then? What is your solution? Because they come to me and they want, oh, Tony, I want to meet more women. I want to have more success. I want to get laid. What do I do? I tell them, well, you have to go out and meet women. But no, they're going to wait till the pandemic is over. Here's some news. You'll probably never catch COVID, right? The chances of you catching it are very, very slim. And if you do, it's like a 99.7% survival rate. It might suck, but you'll most likely survive. But if you're gonna wait for them to officially announce that it's over, you don't have to wear masks anymore, you don't have to social distance. Every country is different, but the media, and the media includes social media, Facebook, Twitter, pundits on YouTube. A lot of these things influence governments, right? It's not going to be over for many, many years, because they want you to stay locked down forever. There's literally no downside for the big corporations, for the government, for people staying home forever, besides essential workers, right? Who's making record profits right now? Walmart, Amazon, Starbucks. You know, these big corporations, they're making record profits. So, you know, Silicon Valley, Google, Facebook, Twitter, record levels of users, Netflix. There's no benefit for people to be going outside and socializing and men dating women. It doesn't make them any money, right? Who's losing money? Me. Because if people aren't socializing, if they're not dating, then I'm not finding clients, right? If everybody's inside shivering with fear, with masks on their face and face shields, you know, they're not dating. So I don't want you guys to die, but I just want you to notice the correlation between your fear of death and your inability to attract beautiful women. So here's how you deal with this, right? How do you approach people in the middle of a scare, a global scare? That's what I'm going to call it. Women are attracted to leaders. They're attracted to men with leadership capabilities. And remember the law of state transference. Whatever you feel, she feels. So say you're wearing your plague mask and you see another girl wearing her plague mask. Maybe it's mandatory to wear outside, like in Mexico, for example. You can travel there, but you have to wear a mask outdoors. How do you approach her, right? You approach her and stand 6 feet back, worrying that you might catch the COVID? Or more likely is it going to be that you, being a highly empathetic guy who's already worried about seeming creepy, you're going to stand 6 feet back from her with a fear that you might offend her, that you might upset her because of your... I'm just going to turn around and go back up this hill. You might offend her because of your empathy, right? You don't want her to think that you're unsafe. Whatever you feel, she feels. So when you approach a woman and you feel apprehensive because you might come off as creepy, what's happening there is you're transferring your fear to her. If you feel like this is wrong, she's going to sense that, and then she's going to feel something is wrong, right? So if you have a fear of catching a flu and you see a girl and you want to go talk to her, but you're genuinely afraid of catching a flu from her, you're going to stand far back. You know, you're going to talk through your mask. You're not going to want to make any physical contact. And so she's going to assume that because you're worried about this, so should she be. This might happen in a bar or a restaurant. On top of that, we have all these social conditionings going on, right? So say you're in a restaurant and you see some women, and you know you're not supposed to interact with them because that's the new normal, right? And so not only do you have this sort of anxiousness about going up and talking to women in general, you're going to have this other anxiousness about people seeing you. What are they going to think? What if I'm breaking the new social rules? So there's a lot going against you, but the biggest tip I can give you is understand that you have to be the leader. People are not, the government and the media are not going to give you your freedom. You're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to defy the expectations of society and risk a little bit of danger. You might catch a flu. Is that okay with you? Right? See these mountains over here? I climbed that a few weeks ago. There's another mountain just on the other side. I spent 3 days by myself with a backpack hiking through the forest. There were bears. I slipped a few times. I could have broke my ankle. There was no cell reception. It was dangerous. But you know what? I loved it. Because if you're so afraid of death that you're unable to live, how are you going to experience life to its fullest? You could lock yourself up in your house, watch movies, play video games, jerk off, swipe on Tinder once in a while, and yeah, you'll live, but you're not gonna live. If you want to get out there and date hot women again, if you want to start going to parties again, you're going to have to risk a little bit of danger, and you're going to have to risk being criticized or offending people. You know, whatever your views are on COVID, that's fine. But, you know, you might think that it's a really dangerous situation, and maybe it is where you're from. Where I'm from, I don't feel any fear. You know what my fear is? My fear is of rampant authoritarianism. Kyles and Karens who think they can finally have some sense of meaning and purpose in their life by asserting their authority over random people, shaming you for not wearing a mask. You know, I want to travel again, and people are saying, well, Tony, aren't you afraid of catching COVID? No, I'm not. Okay? Why should I be afraid of that? It's more dangerous driving on the roads in Thailand than it is sitting in a restaurant talking to people. I've been through some dangerous situations in my life, and I'll tell you, catching the flu is the least of my worries. I'm worried about being stranded in a country with an authoritarian regime that forces me. I'm running out of breath here because I'm hiking. Man, I gotta get back into the gym. Okay, anyway, I'm more afraid of fascism than I am of the flu. Things are going to go back to normal, but it's going to be up to you to drive society in that direction. You have to be a leader. You can't show women that you're afraid of talking to them, and that you need to stay 6 feet back and you're worried about the flu, not for their sake or yours. It doesn't help anybody. At some point, you're gonna have to just realize the world is a dangerous place, and there's a lot of ways you could die. If you wanna have a fun life and meet women, you're gonna have to take action and go do it, and let them deal with their own fears. You are brave. You are sexy, you are strong, and you're not gonna let a little virus that might kill you and your grandma stop you from doing that. It may be selfish, but that's just the way it's gonna have to be. The government's not gonna come out, social media pundits aren't gonna come and say, okay, it's all okay now. You can take off the mask, you can go socialize, go party, have fun. It's not gonna happen. You're going to have to defy. And you know what? I came from the pickup artist realm. Mainstream society has always despised us. Why? Because we're outlaws. We're rule breakers. We break the social code, right? You know, we're not living in a masculine patriarchy. We're living in a matriarchy. We're living in a society that's dominated by female safety protocols, female etiquettes. That's okay. That's the way it is, right? If you don't like it, you can go somewhere else or you can adapt. But we're obsessed with safety. Look at this. Unmanned natural trails. Use caution. When I was a kid, there were no fences here. Why do I need this fence? Am I gonna run off that cliff? Our society is obsessed with safety, and it's only gonna get worse. There's only gonna be more regulations, more rules, more forms to fill out, more protocols to protect you. But you know, what are all these safeties really protecting? Someone's idea. That's it. Don't approach women. It's bad and creepy. Don't be creepy. You know what? That's one of the first things you learn when you get into improving yourself and improving your sex life. Not to give a shit what anybody thinks about you. Now they're using this social tool of guilt. They're saying, hey, you have to wear a mask and stay home, otherwise you're putting other people at risk. Yeah, well, where's the evidence for that? Okay, I don't think it's a hoax, but literally I don't know anybody who knows directly one person who died from COVID. Maybe you do. If you do, you can say something in the comments and tell me I'm a piece of shit. I don't care. This is advice for guys who want to get back out there and living life and dating girls again. Seducing beautiful women. You're going to have to take the initiative. You're going to have to break the societal stigmas and just go fucking do it. On that note, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not used to doing videos, so this was quite fun. Maybe I'll do more. If you liked it, say, hey, Tony, do some more videos. Subscribe, hit like, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah. You just go out and ride around in the house. It's like, I don't do this anymore, Dad.